there is this perception out there that natural medicines, these vitamins and minerals and herbs and everything, are the Cinderella, are the ugly duckling, possibly the baby brother of conventional prescription medicine. And conventional prescription medicine is the gold standard, it's the best. And yes, if you can't go to the doctor, then the alternative is to look for a natural medicine. Or yes, if you don't believe in conventional medicine, then yes, look at natural medicines. But natural medicines is so often seen as a weaker, lesser option compared to conventional medicine. And that is sometimes true and it's sometimes not. For example, if you have very high blood pressure, there's nothing that works better than a conventional prescription medicine to bring that blood pressure down overnight. And that's important, because if you've got very high blood pressure, if you don't bring that medicine down, that blood pressure down overnight, you may be suffering a stroke tomorrow, because you can suffer a stroke in a day from very high levels of blood pressure. So, and conventional medicine, at least natural medicines, take a long time often to work. And they often are more subtle. They don't reduce blood pressure as significantly as conventional medicine. Or if you've got a splitting headache, nothing works better than a conventional medicine, prescription or otherwise over-the-counter, than a natural medicine. So conventional medicines most certainly are better than natural medicines in some occasions. But those occasions are for what we call acute conditions. In other words, for emergency intervention in a dangerous or in an unpleasant situation, like a headache or very high blood pressure. Because they focus on one symptom and they bring it down very effectively, and they do it very quickly. But when it comes to chronic, in other words, the long-term reduction of disease and reduction of dying from a disease, then the interesting thing is that conventional medicine works less effectively than natural medicines. So now you might say, okay, well, Brent, prove it. Prove that natural medicines are better than conventional medicines for severe diseases that are going to cause you to die. Well, let's take an example. There was a study done, what we call a meta-analysis of studies done last year. Now, a meta-analysis is a very powerful type of study because it's a study that pulls the data from a whole lot of different studies and into one study, and it looks at huge numbers of people, therefore, because it's a whole lot of studies that have been combined. And they looked at what are the effects of cholesterol medicine on lowering cholesterol, and what are the effects of fish oil, omega-3 fats, on lowering cholesterol. Now, omega-3 fats, fish oil, is a natural medicine. Okay, it's one of the things that has a whole host of health benefits, and it comes from a fish, so it's perceived it is a natural medicine. Your statin cholesterol-lowering medicines are prescription medicines. And what they did is they looked at three groups of people. They looked at people that had high cholesterol and took nothing. They looked at people that had a high cholesterol and took statin cholesterol-lowering medicines. And they looked at people that had high cholesterol and that took, instead of taking statin cholesterol medicines, took fish oil. And they looked at the reduction in cholesterol. And in the case of the placebo group, the people that took nothing, the cholesterol remained unchanged. In the group that took the statin cholesterol-lowering medicine, cholesterol was reduced by 30%. In the group of people that took the fish oil, omega-3, cholesterol was reduced by 10%. Okay, so which is better? The placebo, the prescription, or the natural? The prescription, not so. You had a bigger reduction in your cholesterol than with your fish oils. So what am I talking about? Am I talking absolute nonsense? Well, let me ask you this question, ladies and gentlemen. What is the reason, if you have high cholesterol, you want to lower your cholesterol levels? Is it because it's nice to maybe put a frame up on the wall that says, I have cholesterol of 4? Is that the reason you do it? Or do you do it because low cholesterol levels makes your garden grow better? No, none of those. You reduce your cholesterol so that you don't die of a heart attack or a stroke. Because high cholesterol is a risk factor for heart disease. That's why you lower it. That's why you lower your cholesterol. So these researchers did something else. They said, let's not just look at the effect on lowering cholesterol, because the reason people lower their cholesterol is so that they don't die of a heart attack or of a stroke. And they then compared those same groups of people again to see what is their reduction in the number of deaths through heart attack or stroke in those three groups of people. And the people that took the placebo medicine, no reduction in deaths. The people that took the statin medication, there was between 13 and 23% reduction in deaths. So that's significant. The statin prescription medicine, between 13 and 23% reduction in deaths from heart attack or stroke. In the fish oil omega-3 extract, there was a reduction in death rate of 30 to 40%. Okay, so now, which one is more effective? The fish oil, not so. How come? How come could the fish oil be more effective at reducing death rate when it wasn't as effective at reducing cholesterol? And the reason is quite simple. Cholesterol medicines on prescription do one thing only. They reduce your cholesterol. That's all they do. But if you have high cholesterol, in almost all cases, it means you have some sort of heart disease. Now, heart disease is not just high cholesterol. High cholesterol is both a symptom and a risk factor. In other words, it's a sign that you've got heart disease and also can make the heart disease worse. But it doesn't exist in isolation. It normally exists as a syndrome of heart disease and blood vessel disease. And we must be very careful that we don't think that the disease is high cholesterol. And that therefore, just by bringing down your cholesterol and bringing down your blood pressure, when you go back to the doctor and he says your cholesterol's fine and your blood pressure's fine, you think that the disease is cured. Because those are only two of the risk factors and symptoms caused by the disease, or that are associated with the disease. And they go hand in hand with a host of other risk factors and signs. High blood pressure, I've already mentioned, high cholesterol, high levels of LDL, the cholesterol, the carrier protein that carries cholesterol from the liver to the arteries, low levels of HDL, the type of cholesterol carrier that carries cholesterol from the arteries back to the liver. So as a result, you've got more carrying cholesterol to the arteries and less carrying cholesterol back. But more importantly, there are other more newer risk factors that are being discovered for heart disease. Things like inflammatory markers, things that cause inflammation, things like C-reactive protein, interleukins, fibrinogen, a substance called homocysteine, a substance called lipoprotein little a. These all increase risk of heart attack.